because you don't gotta be your father. At the same time, you can be who your father was supposed to be, because the hurt that changed him, you won't let it change you because you released him and you forgave him.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dads on Purpose, the podcast. I'm your host, Josh Ashford, man. And as always, joined by the big homie, Mr. Kevin Brigance. KB, how you doing, bro?
What's up, baby? As always, it's exciting to be on Dads on Purpose podcast with my boy, Josh. Hey. How are you, bro?
Man, I feel good. I feel good. I feel great, man. We got a dad's coach, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Demetrius early on here.
Yes.
AKA King of the Fatherhood Project. Fatherhood Project, right?
Yes. The king of the Fatherhood. Fathership Project.
Fathership Project.
When you said King just when you said King, I didn't hear nothing else. I gotta rebrand. I gotta rebrand the whole thing now.
Hey, and then he glanced up. He was like, King. Yeah.
I didn't hear nothing else. It's over. Wait till I get off this interview. I am changed. Oh, I can't wait.
I love it, man. Yo, that's what I love about this podcast, man. We just here, bro. Like it ain't no egos. Everybody just big chilling. Glad to have you on the show, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
We try to get to your level of having 100 episodes, because that's beefy.
Man, five years in the game, man. God is good. God is good.
Bro.
Yo, we got
a lot of people hang in there that long, bro. Not a lot of people hang in there that long.
I spent 6 months quitting every day.
6 months?
Just keep quitting. I just kept quitting, but it was hard, but I just kept quitting. I just kept quitting. Like, nope, I'm done. Then 2 weeks go by, I'm like, man, let me put out something.
Bro, people need the information that we're putting out there, and I think if you can get past that, it's kind of like whenever you start a business, like in general, because you start off and you like, oh, here's the logo, here's that, it's sexy, it's fun, it's new, and then you realize ain't nobody buying your products, and so you like,
boom,
man, bump this. But it's kind of, I feel like, and I'm not there yet, we're not there yet. I feel like there's a sweet spot. Like once you get past like 50 episodes or something like that, then you start to really, you know what I'm saying? Like, one, people know you're serious, because a lot of times we'll start things and we ain't really like dedicated, and people know we ain't dedicated. So they be like, yo, I'm gonna hold off until I see if he really on here. I think about David Shands, man, one of my coaches. He just got put on with Earn Your Leisure on their platform, but he just hit his 100th episode and he just hit 100 YouTube subscribers. Last year he had 8,000.
Wow.
When he got consistent, he wasn't consistent with his podcast. He wasn't consistent with the information, with helping people. When he got consistent, bro, he just.
I mean, but why would you expect somebody to invest in something you're not vested in? You know what I'm saying? So that's the battle. Actually, a friend of mine reached out to me and asked me about consistency, and I told him I struggle with consistency when I was all over the place. Because you're doing it from the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? When William Ford, the guy who created the assembly line and, automotive, he said, if I would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. You feel me? Yeah. So when you're trying to create a brand for a market that's already there, then you're going to be limited, because if you don't hit, if I'm not Pat Bev David, if I'm not E.T. the hip hop preacher, and I'm trying to be E.T. the hip hop preacher, and I don't get those streams in that, I want to quit. And when I figured out, okay, but I'm a dad coach. This is what God called me to be. This is where I'm at. This is my vein. This is my, like, I'm almost 75% able to tell you where my audience, where they live, what they want to buy, like, the conversation they want to have. And I'm only talking to them. So when I walk into a room of 1 million people, it's like 99 people that I'm talking to, and everybody else, I'm just here to say what's up. Like it's just like that.
Bro, we ain't even started the podcast. Like this ain't the topic we talking about. This ain't nothing, man. This is just free game for y'all. So y'all out there on YouTube land, man, subscribe to the podcast, like the podcast. Y'all on Apple, Spotify, man, give us some 5-star ratings. We're trying to run up the numbers. And
always.
The more you like our content, the more you share it, the more people come back, the more people get impacted, the better we all are as fathers, as more well-rounded fathers, and just out here trying to change the game. But here's what I want to talk about. Because we a couple minutes in, and that's cool. Man, Demetrius, you have such an amazing platform, bro. Like,
Thank you.
You really do, man. And you're really talking about like the core of it all. It's just like the whole fatherlessness, like the impacts and things like that, man.
Yeah.
What I want to know, man, is like, how did you get started on that transition? Like, did you come from an absent father background or what?
I came from an estranged father background. And that's why the fatherlessness conversation has so many layers. My dad would kill a rock for me. My dad was he is, if you met him, he's so stoic and he's the scariest person on earth. Yeah. My dad and my mom had me young. And anybody who knows anything about having children young, y'all gonna make so many mistakes because y'all young. You know what I'm saying? So they made
you gonna make mistakes if you have them old too. Just
you're right. Let me clear that up. You're right. So there was so much dysfunction, and it's not their fault, but it's just, the learning curve. They weren't married, they weren't really in love, they barely liked each other. And that created a dynamic between me and my father that I like to talk about. That's why I speak from the son's perspective. So my mother, I was her protector. When a man's not in a home, and this is not right, but the child, especially a male child, decides to become her protector, and she'll start to treat him as such. So now the man that's supposed to give you identity becomes an adversary.
Gotcha.
When the man that's supposed to help groom you into the man you're supposed to be becomes your enemy, it perverts how you'll look at every single man for the rest of your life. It's a very toxic perspective to have. And if you think about when you walk through the hood, you getting mugged and like you lining everybody up because the first man that you were supposed to trust you couldn't trust, or he was an op. So now everybody is. So there's no community.
Bro, that's crazy.
Bro, you just unlocked 12 years of my work for me, bro. Like when you talking, because when you're talking about working with young men of color who oftentimes are in that type of situation, right? And I'm always the one coming in talking about, bro, you're young, like you're 12. What are you doing trying to be the man of the house? But now you're connecting the dots. You know what I mean? You're connecting the dots for me.
I gotta protect mommy.
And bro, and then now I'm starting to understand why our young men have such a what's the word? Non-respect for authority, right? Because now if I already have an adversary at a young age because I'm trying to protect my mom, then whenever another dude step up, bro, I'm the dude. I'm the man in this. Bro.
Like, what do we do about that though? Like what? Okay. So what? Because I like I'm real big on like concrete like steps. Solution. Like I don't like talking theory. I like talking like like what do we do if we know that is the issue, that is the problem, that is the hurdle.
Right. What's the solution? Now, the heart and soul, and this actually gets into more why I do what I do. Yeah. This goes back onto the men, right? We have to have the conversation. It's the mama's baby, papa's maybe syndrome that allows this to happen because I don't like people being victims, but we have to understand that there are too many sons who are dealing with this stuff because dad don't care. He don't care enough to intervene because the only person that can heal that relationship is the father. So there's reconciliation. Now, what's hard is, what if your father got killed, right? Depending on where you at, or your father's doing 30 years, or your father's mind is so messed up, he not even there to reconcile with you because of where he came from.
Yeah.
So then what I try to take the guys through is I call it a battle plan, because you have to get reconciliation. You have to go through forgiveness, and it's not easy because you're fighting yourself. You're fighting the foundation of what made you strong. Because these young men that want to defend their mom, they are strong, they are determined, but because it's perverted and it's against the person that's giving you identity, it kind of turns on itself. You're not open for help. You're not trying to build community. You're not trying to, because you're angry. You know what I'm saying? So one thing is that we first have to go and try to we go through a whole map of understanding dad, which is weird. So whether he's alive or dead, we need to do a little bit of research because I got to understand. It doesn't make it okay, but it starts the healing process of let me understand why this happened. So as I get to understand some of the patterns of my father, his father, if I can, I dig this stuff up. And then I start going through the process of understanding that it wasn't personal. My dad wasn't a hero, but he was hurt too.
Yeah.
And as I release my father, I can start going through the process of understanding that my father was actually created, and everything that he did, he was the anti of my greatness. So even though he was an absent father, he should be making me a present father. He should be. And then, and like I said, it's tough because there's so many different phases. But
but you said something like super dope, man. You said release your father. Like you release your father, man. I think that is a bag right there, man, because there's so many of us that are walking around with grudges and being upset at other people when the fact of the matter is the other person may not even know that you're mad.
Have no idea.
And so now you got a grudge. Now you getting your whole life messed up because you mad at them. But if you just
successful, these people can be, listen, your dad, this is what's tough. Your deadbeat dad can be a great father, can be successful, and don't be thinking nothing about you. It's it's so garbage to think that, but that man is a man first. And you got, and us as sons, we have to remember that he's a man first, and we got to go through that process because, like you said, my life is messed up, my relationships is messed up. I look at women, I'm a womanizer. I go through all these processes to define my manhood because the man I'm supposed to wasn't. And I'm letting it pervert who I am. And this dude that started a whole new family, he didn't started a business, he making all this money, and he not even thinking about such and such junior. Because he garbage, but he moved on. And he doesn't, no one who hurts you deserves to tear up your purpose in your life. Because you're mad at him and you won't release him. You get what I'm saying?
Wow. So. Yeah. Bro, that's just profound. Understanding your dad, understanding like what kind of man he is or was. I think that's one of the things that's helped me with the young men that I've had the opportunity to mentor who are angry with their fathers. Like, I mean, like, man, fuck him. I don't want nothing to do with him. And like seriously, like, but this is truth, right? And this is the anger pit goes so deep because from the moment that they realize the dad isn't there to the moment forever until they reconcile with their dad, it's a painful opportunity for them. But I said, we don't know all that went on at birth. We don't know all that went on when he left. We don't all know what went on in this process. So let's try to understand maybe what had happened. And I'm not hating on mothers. Like, I'm not hating because I know this is a struggle when we talk about fatherhood and manhood because there has to be a balance somewhere, right? But oftentimes, well, my mama said, and then when you finally get the opportunity to talk to dad, you hear a totally different story of what, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think really that reconciliation, trying to understand, listen, I know you hurt. I know you didn't have the relationship that you wanted. But if we try to understand dad and what dad was going through, what dad was thinking, what dad's struggles were at that time of trying to be a father, then we can try to reconcile the anger that we have and try to reconcile that relationship so that we can now, have something to define who I am again.
This stuff also still doesn't condone being weak. That's and I got to say that because we, with every reason in the world, dad, the mama, all of that. So what? It's still weak that you're not out here raising your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Come on with it.
So I'm talking to the son because the dad, you being weak, right?
Yeah.
But this is where you want to get a little selfish with the young man, as you coming up, because I want to tell you, like, listen, your dad was being weak, and I want you to understand, not to praise him as a deity, but to bring him down because there's only one God. So once you take him down from that, because you assume your dad to be God, he's Superman, like he's crazy. Yeah. So once you figure out that he's not, let's pull him down. He's not your equal because he's still your father, but let's pull him down that he's a man. And as you understand that, you can heal. And you like, okay, cool, that's him. Because you don't gotta be your father. At the same time, you can be who your father was supposed to be because the hurt that changed him, you won't let it change you because you released him and you forgave him. It's not easy. I talked to a dad 3 weeks ago. His dad was beating the crap out of him, put him in the hospital every couple of weeks. How do I forgive somebody who I'm not talking about hurting my feelings? You tear my body out.
Yeah.
Bust me upside my head. And he also went through the process where he noticed that he was a mean and evil father to his children because he could never get over the fact that my dad was beating up on me.
Yeah.
For what? And he realized that when he released his dad, he became a better one. Wow. Because now he wasn't his whole focus and purpose wasn't, I'm going to be better than my dad. No, I'm going to be the best man that God created me to be.
Wow.
Well, here's the question though. So we got a huge male audience, but we also have a huge female audience. Is it the same situation for girls? And now, Demetrius, I know you have 3 boys. I got 2 girls. Kev got a girl. And so like, we got a lot of girls that are struggling with daddy issues.
Yeah, you brothers are in trouble.
I mean, like, is that what you said?
You boys are in trouble.
He said we're in trouble.
I got
look, your boys in trouble if they ain't coming correct.
Facts. Listen, I'm glad you said that because that's, even though I don't have daughters, the community of fathership, we have a responsibility as a boy dad or I don't like boy because I'm raising men, I'm not raising boys. As a dad raising men, I have a responsibility to the girl dads. Because and that's why I have to help give my son that identity of what a man is, so he don't think that screwing, dogging, passing around, finessing women is cool, because we grew up in that time. We also, the Bible talks about you treat an older woman as a mother and a younger woman as a sister. Now, we got to be careful because when you're attracted and you want to date them, she's not your sister. You're right. In context, but you got to understand, imagine if women in general, when a man was in the room, he viewed women under that context.
Yeah.
How many times I just saw a guy the other day leaving from work about to beat a woman up. And you got hundreds of men walking by and
let me go.
But if that was your mom, I remember hearing a guy, he like, man, if that was my mom's, it would be a wrap. So we have to protect our women by being men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got a lot of the things we grew up culturally about sex and dogging them and pimping and all that junk is garbage. And this is what creates and breaks young women who have daddy issues, because we take advantage of, because you want to date me, right? And then, and this is real wild to say, but okay. And I talked about this, but I got to say this because we talk about young.
No, you good.
We got to talk about, with women having daddy issues.
Yeah.
And I can talk about this because I struggle with this, and it's really embarrassing. But I thank God for grace. I thank God that nobody ever came to testify or anything. But older dudes, we gotta stop talking to these young girls. Like, we gotta stop being weird. Just because she's 18, that's not the gun for you to shoot off. No, you too old. You know what I'm saying? That's you're being weird. You know what I'm saying?
But is that just on the dad or the man, or is that on the girl as well? Because there are women out there that like older men. Yeah, that's. But it's like, are they trying to fill some type of void or something like that? So that goes back to like how do we? So we talking about helping sons to become better fathers and be the father that your dad wasn't. But like, what do we talk about to our daughters? Like, what do we talk about?
What? That's true. And like I said, and I can't speak from a woman because I'm not. So it's hard because I know the situations are different why women like older men. But I will say there's an underlying consistently with most women who like, I ain't talking about he 5. My wife's older than me, right? I'm a year older. I'm not talking about 4 years, 3 years, but I'm talking about when a woman is 18 and she likes to date dudes that's 27, 26. There's usually, because just because your dad lives in your home or is alive doesn't mean he's a present father. It doesn't mean he's instilled those things. So I think the one thing that's kind of tough when you're talking to young women and older men, it's like, how do you tell a woman to have a reality check with herself? Like, are you attracted to him because he's mature? Because men are immature, or are you attracted to him because he's he's creating the atmosphere for you that your father didn't?
Yeah,
he's giving you the stability. I'm sorry, y'all raising women, so y'all already know. Y'all not raising y'all daughters to wait to find stability when she find a man. No, right? So she's not waiting for a man to give her direction and her boyfriends and all. No, you're instilling a woman, a whole person. So sometimes, I'm not saying an older man and a younger woman can't be attracted, but the age lines, the time, like we got to just be honest and say, Come on, man. You 35 years old. She 18. She's a younger setup. She's a younger build, and she could be able to be manipulated easier than an older woman who then dealt with dudes like you for 20 years and 10 years and tired of your crap. So it gets tough. Bro. I like to put the pressure on the men because we know what we doing. You know what I'm like? I mean, we just keep it a buck. She young, she cute. She ain't had kids. She ain't been through the processes and waves of life. She's a little easier to deal with. She may even look better on paper. Because you've damaged so many other women, you're gonna try to do a restart with somebody else's baby.
KB, I feel like you're trying to jump in there, man. I'm feeling it,
man, because it's a lot, man. Because I'm just thinking about a lot of situations that I've even dealt with on a school age, right, in grade school. Because you have 9th, 10th, and 11th, 12th grade, right? You're talking about 4-year difference. So I'm in the 12th grade and I'm dating this freshman, but I'm 17 and she's 15. So if something ever happens between them, that's rape. That's jail time. That's, you know what I mean? And we're not processing that. Does that make sense? And that's what's boiling up in me right now is like, if we don't really start having these conversations of with our sons and with our daughters, right? Because I think at the same time, what do we do as a girl dad is kind of give some explanation of, hey, I understand he's 2 or 3 years older than you or 4 years older than you and you like him, but if this happens, he's a little bit more mature than you. So, you know, what is he talking about? What is he trying to get you to do? What's going on? And if we're not navigating this, because I get it. Think about that. You walking on campus, you're a freshman and a senior is like, oh, little mama, what's up? Because if you really think about it, that's what happens, right? You know, for many cases, for young men, and then that just perpetuates. I don't know if I said that word right, but it continues to go. But it continues to go on, right? So you graduate from high school, but you still have that mindset that I still want a young tenderoni. I want somebody who I can. And so, man, we have to really. It could be I was in a situation with a teen father out of school who already had kids, but still messing around with other girls on campus. But bro, you 19.
Yeah,
like that's a whole charge, and I mean, and not to like really get deep into it, but I mean, in the state of Texas, if they 17 and she 15, that's not rape, but I mean, that's still weird. Like that's
really, you know what? Like I said, if we go, because I try my best not to get too racial, because there's layers in that. But let me say this: young black men, from drugs, like we don't need to give any help to put us to get ourselves in the system. A case, just even the 2 years of probation, maybe you don't do real jail time. Do you understand that when you have children, you grow up, now you 30 years old, 25 years old, you find somebody you love, you want to have children, you're not supposed to be around them. Going to birthday parties, you know, when y'all want to go buy a house, you know, me and my wife are currently going to go buy a house. Do you understand that you see 17 and you seeing this cold little 14-year-old, cold little 15-year-old, you 22, cold little 16-year-old. Do you understand that once you get over that lust, because all it is lust and you being gross, that because you can wait. If y'all so in love, y'all can hang out, be best friends, stay away from her and wait till she gets of age. And you know, but if you don't, this mistake, it can happen. And now you grow up and mature, and now your wife has to accept that you're a red dot. Imagine that. Hey, babe, I love you, but we're gonna be a red dot everywhere we go.
Bro, you just go ahead, Kevin.
I actually have a connection with the family that actually has that. Like the dad is considered, and so they have to go through this whole legal process just for him to live in the house with his own kids, just for him to go. But then now he's a target in his neighborhood because he's a registered sex offender. So it's just, man, that
sucks. That hurt. That kind of hurt.
You brought something up in me real quick though, because I got a homie that. So we're talking about men looking at women that are younger or look younger, things like that, and I'm just like, yo, like we really have to get to the point where it's not all physical, and it's more about mental, because you being attracted to younger looking people can I mean, so I got a homie. He was on a website and he was talking to somebody, and it was an 18 or older website. they was talking about, yeah, I'm older, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, they were not 18. And he had all the information about them being of age. 5 years.
Wow.
Just got out last year.
Wow.
And so it's like, because you were attracted to that younger looking person, and I'm not saying that, I mean, people, because our black women, our black women, they'll be 50 looking,
beautiful,
19.
all the 60 be looking 22.
Do y'all just run a background check or something like that? But here's what I'm saying.
That's tough.
I'm trying to get back to this because I'm really trying to piece this together for myself so I can understand these conversations that I need to have. And so we talk about, the conversation that we need to have with our young daughters. Those are conversations that we have as dads. I'm trying to figure out the conversations or the help or the assistance that we can give to a young lady that doesn't have that dad to instill that knowledge into them. So maybe they're watching this, quote unquote, a little too late. Or maybe they want to share this episode with someone that's hurting. And so I'm like, we talk a lot about the sons and the men. And I know, Demetrius, you're talking about putting it on the men, but I'm like, I don't want to leave out our young ladies. And maybe that's not the right platform. Maybe that's not our job. But
yeah,
it's a little bit because, honestly, like we can't pretend, like I said, it's tough because you got to be careful in this space when you're talking about women, but because there are victims, and then at the reality, because we fellas, men are dumb. That's why when men cheat, it be the neighbor, it be somebody I work with. That's why they get caught, because we dumb. We not cerebral. Women are tacticianers. Right. So I don't, and I hate when sometimes when we have these conversations, I hate if I ever sound like I'm talking as if women are unable to be equals cerebrally in these conversations, and that they cannot be predatory at times as well. Like they're just always prey just because they're women, because that's not true.
But like you said, there's a thin line to walk, and I'm just trying to bring some sort of attention to how that conversation needs to be had, or what that conversation looks like. You feel me? I'm not trying to say like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, yeah, I get it. It's tough because, like I say, I would say to the young ladies, and it's hard because, especially if you don't have a strong driving faith, that's like, I'm not having sex, right? I'm not doing it. Then what's your motivation to not have sex? Because like you said, if everything is about physical, I don't care what nobody say. No matter what religion you believe in, if you keep up a background check, or anybody who is sexually charged, if they're all they talk about is sex, you're going to see crime or some kind of things that you wish they didn't do. You like anybody who's chasing sex, you make mistakes, you do this, you do like so. For my young ladies, and it's tough now because they gave out Grammys to a bunch of women, and that's all they do. We got to wear masks, but they grinding, and it's the weirdest thing. But I'm not gonna get into that.
I saw it, and I was like,
"Well, you was peeling back a whole."
Because I hate it. I got nieces. I got nieces, and I got nieces and sisters that are beautiful, and it's tough when you're beautiful, and you're built the way that God made you for your husband. But you want to use it as a showcase, like like the little signs at the spots that be like, 50% off. And so I hate how our women are displayed. I miss the Felicia Rashads and the Patti LaBelle, these classy, elegant women who, you don't know what they was doing with their husbands behind closed doors, because that's how it's supposed to be. But they also wasn't doing thirst traps sitting on tables anyway. So for my women, I really just want to encourage them to understand that, listen, a real dude, you can't keep a real dude with sex.
Yeah.
So like feeling that you need to keep up with the competition, you're already starting that relationship on the wrong foot.
Yeah.
It's like a man that if I gotta pay and give you all this money for you to stay with me, our relationship, it's already messed up.
Yeah.
So with my little girl, it's cool to get to know these dudes. It's so many women that have children by men that they didn't know anything about them until they got a whole human being with them.
Yeah.
And now they're dealing with the consequences.
Yeah.
Bro, you didn't gotta keep going, because I think I had something in my mind and you just put it out, because I couldn't navigate it and figure it out, man. But I think that is the perfect way to really start that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to go, because I think I see the connection, because I've heard fathership before, and I heard it be preached, and it was like mind blowing for me. Like it was like, this is what fatherhood is about. So what I really want you to do, because I think what can connect it to is, I think a lot of the issues with some of the young ladies too is the father. The father is the key component to how do we keep on a level balance. So what I would like to know, bro, is fathership. Give me the definition of fathership. What does fathership look like? How is that developed? How is it carried through? Because that, bro, like I said, man, I've heard it preached. I got the book, and that's what really interests me with a lot of the work that you're doing, because I understand that for me, I had to learn who my father was before I was able to call him my father and see how he treated me in those ways. So if you don't mind, man, just kind of really break that down for us.
Cool. Okay, so the fathership is basically the impact the relationship between a father and their child has on them and the community around them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so and fathership is carried out by actually just being present. You're not going to be perfect, but if you're present, you're going to be a perfect father because you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the whole Fathership Project is about finding other opportunities and ways to be present. If you don't live with the mother, right? Because a lot of situations we don't. So does that mean you comfortable with just seeing them on the weekend? Like it's a guy that I'm counseling right now, and the first conversation we had is, he's like, well, we need to go half on tax season, and I said, why? So you see her 2 days out the week. So you tripping about?
He said, why?
The mother is carrying the brunt of the responsibility. She's keeping your daughter, your child safe. She's did it for. So I said, so forget the money. Let's talk about the investment, because could you go and see your daughter in the morning? Because that's, especially now, COVID for fathership should have opened doors for connection, right? Hopefully, can you go and help her with her homework? If you work afternoons, is it possible for you to want to pick her up for 4 or 5 hours and then drop her back off? Because if the judge is telling you how to be a dad and he's saying 2 days, then that means these judges don't know what a dad is. Because I don't care what nobody say. Being a weekend dad is a you see week is in front of weekend, right?
Come on, bro.
So no, the father's.
How do I turn this podcast off?
For real, the whole Fathership Project is about being present, and then there's another component, because every man won't become a father, but every man is a son. That's how we get here. So in that right, we have to encourage one. That's what we have to encourage one another and share information. There are dads out here that had kids at 17. I can't tell a young man when he finds out his girl is pregnant at 17 what to do. Because I'm just strict with it. No, don't kill the baby. Like that's my stance. Don't kill it.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what it's like, because I didn't have my first child till I was 25.
Yeah.
And getting married, right? So it's different. But there are dads who had to go through that, who need to tell these young dudes. Because I was 25, married, had a job. When my wife, and it sucks, but I'm just being honest, because this is the mentality. When my whole wife came to me and was like, I'm pregnant. I was like, so what you want to do? I'm considering.
What you want to do? What you mean? I want to do?
That's the conversation. So what you want to? How much? You are, and that's because of fear. And I was a minister at this time, young minister, young man. But I had a poverty mindset. That's why these conversations. When you're poor and you're afraid of money, children become adversary. There you go again. Yeah. See how we made the dad adversary.
Yeah. Not a child.
Man, I can't afford blah 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 blah. So we need these dads that had kids young to talk to them like, listen, young man, y'all don't freak out. Okay, you get over it. This is what we can do. There's process. There's programs. There's this, and fourth. And at the same time, there's God. Listen, we've grown up poor, and don't nobody want to grow up poor. But listen, it's worse things to do. And sometimes growing up poor is exactly what that second generation needs to kill poverty for the rest of his generation and his family. So it's just about being present on every aspect of it. So me, as a man, the part of my Fathership Project is when I see a young woman, and this is being around my guys, because they watching you, we watching each other. no matter how she's shaped, you can't turn around. You gotta start putting out the respect for these women. Or when you talk to them, hey, how you doing? It ain't that baby sweetheart. Like, no, she's a woman. How you doing? What's your name? And you treat her like an equal, and you keep it moving, because we gotta desexualize this stuff so that we can create safe atmospheres. I've seen women walk into a barbershop, and I've felt them, just curl into themselves because they walk into a room full of hounds. And what sucks is a woman walking into a room full of men, she should feel no safer.
Come on, man.
Like walking into a room full of men that's getting their kids haircuts, that's being men, that's being dad. She should be able to walk up in there like, hey, this guy outside. And like, oh, okay, let's go see if he's all right. Like, and that's not what we put out, because when we so yeah, fathership is really just we got to rebuild the community, and fathers have to get back into the home. We pay women to keep the dad out, right? That was the programs that they gave us. So now forget that. We don't need that. Dad, be back in the house. I'm done.
Listen, fathership deals with relationship.
Absolutely.
But then we have to, as ministers, learn what the Bible says about relationships. And I think we don't teach that even often. And that's what changed my view. And that's what helped me. And this is what it says. It says, if you have a sister, if a woman is younger than you, treat them as a sister. And I think oftentimes we like, hey, little mama, what's up? You ain't even think of them as an individual, as a person, as you're already gone to, your mindset is gone somewhere else already. You know what I mean? So I think we have to teach these things. Like if the woman's younger than you, that's your sister first. If she's older than you, treat her as a mother. Same thing with the men. If the man is younger than you, that's your brother. And first thing we say is, oh, look at that over there. Like, you know what I mean? And you're already in your mind immediately made him an adversary instead of saying, hey, you know what? That's my brother. I don't have to completely be in his presence and love him, but what I can do is love him from a distance and, keep it rolling. And then when it comes to older men, you treat them as a father. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to be all gun-ho for him, but it's about the respect.
Father figure,
respect.
I think one of the biggest things is, though, man, is that we are all acting like we're in competition with each other, when in reality, we're all in collaboration. Like, when I think about even like when you have a problem with somebody, you should go and address that problem with that person. You don't need to talk to your friends. You don't need to talk to these people over here. You need to talk to that person. So now we're in collaboration. Like we don't got to be friends. But it's no beef. So like now I can address what's going on with me and you, and we can still go and help XYZ over here. But instead, we're all in competition, man, and ain't nobody winning.
Listen, ladies, I apologize because this is gonna probably sound real chauvinistic. But
I feel like you keep saying that.
because my wife be telling me like, babe, I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is the truth. First of all, men, there's a huge generation of us that's coming up, a little older than me, maybe even my age. We were raised by our moms. So our moms taught us about conflict resolution. And women have the tendency to be a little more emotional and reactionary when it comes to stress, right? So if my father doesn't teach me how to be level-headed, how to be, calm and teach me conflict resolution, then when I have a problem with a dude, I want to talk to somebody who's gonna hype me up and like, yeah, dog said what? Okay, like I'm already here because we don't have the skills. I'm talking about even today. I mean, I had an issue at work that I had to really talk myself and look and to go instead of me being automatically offended and emotional and now I'm mad and now it's first going to him like, hey, bro, I think what you did was kind of weak. With all due respect, now let's talk about it because I'm not gonna fight you. We not gonna fight. It's like it's not going to happen. You would have to break into my house and touch my kids for me to put my hands on you. But that don't mean that we don't have a problem. But we super emotional. We're being groomed by women and emotional men to respond in a way that, you go back to the Bible. People was running at Christ and talking about this, and he drawing in the sand and thinking like. You got to think, bro. That 2 seconds of reaction can be 10 years, 5 years. Death, your death. So conflict resolution is another thing that a father should instill. But he got to know how to react because if your daddy always snapping and punching on people, it creates a world of violence. And And I think that if we don't know anything else from 2020 and beyond and past that, we should be a little over violence and death. I think we all had enough. I think we had enough. I think it's time to figure something else out.
Yo, man, this has been like such a dope conversation because I feel like it's something that we're thinking, we see, we know needs to happen, but it's really not coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And it's not coming out in our community.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot more prevalent and needs to be talked about in our community. Yeah, other communities need to have this conversation too. You feel me? But I feel like, man, this is a game changer for our young men and our young women that are coming up, and our older men and our women right now, man, because I think everybody can really benefit from this,
Absolutely.
man. So I'm good. KB, what you got, man? You know me. I'll shut it down right now.
Man, this has been real good, man. I have nothing else, man, because everything that you said, bro, has been on point. Like, it's just been a beautiful thing to understand. Like, we have to be present. We have to be present, and we have to play that role in the relationship to make sure, you know, our kids are getting what they need. And then also what I heard through this whole podcast was there are some orphans out there that need a father to step in.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other hour podcast.
Wow. You're right.
But that's what I heard, right? That's what I heard. Because it's fathership. And it's not necessarily, you know, biological, fathership, man. Because watch, my God is not physically here, but my spiritual connection with him has forever a presence in my life, right? And so I believe, like, in this conversation for fathers who are doing a thing, your family is tight. Your kids are doing, got what they need. We need to be able to step in and provide a little fatherhood to some of these young men and women in our neighborhoods, in our church, and your kids' friends that come over. Add that little guidance in there for them.
Yeah, right there.
Demetrius, where can they find you, man?
You can search a dad coach. Or you can
search
go to search. I'm sorry. On the gram, I'm a dad coach. On Facebook, I'm Demetrius Early. Or you could just go to the website, adadcoach.com, and that's got links to everything. That's I'm giving free consultations for 30 minutes. Like, I just want to have a conversation with you. But adadcoach.com is where I'm at. Social media, dad coach, and let's normalize healing.
Final words, bro. Final thoughts, man. What is your final thoughts for the podcast to close us out? Or you want KB to go first?
Yeah, KB, go first.
Man, final thought, man. Listen, fathership is real. Regardless if you had a father or not, we have to reconcile our relationships, if possible, with our dad. But if we can't reconcile that relationship, we have to release our fathers, is what I heard, which is because so many of us are holding on to that hurt, to that pain. And so, man, fellas, listen, you are more than enough. You're a great dad. If you're being present, if you're doing your thing, man, good job. Congratulations. Listen, you might be listening to this and be like, I'm missing the mark a little bit, because I'm just getting my kid on the weekend. Listen, bro, don't be weak. Stand up, build some stamina, and fight to be present in your kid's life. That's all I have.
That was beautiful.
That's fire.
Demetrius, where you at, man?
I'm gonna let y'all know, real talk. I'm definitely about to build on this weekend dad to encourage my dads. But my final words is that, listen, God, we don't got to be perfect because God did that, right? So we don't got to go through that.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
Instead of
you froze up on us, bro.
There we go. We good.
That's so weak. What the heck? I was talking good. I was talking too good. That's what happened.
You're talking too good. They didn't want you to be great today.
Hey, let's run it back. I'm not gonna edit it, but just run it back.
Cool. Okay, man, I don't even remember what I said. Okay, cool. Listen, we don't got to be perfect because God did that. So we don't got to go through that. But we got to be intentional. Okay? The only way humans get here is through us and their moms. That's a miracle.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the miracle and just be present. God is perfect. You ain't got to be perfect. God just said be present. That's it.
I love it, man. Yo, whether you're a weekend dad, you're an everyday dad, or you I don't ever see my kids dad, but you want to be an adult dad, man, go to tlcbrand.com, man. You see me and Kev with the swag on. Fatherhood over everything. You guys understand from this conversation, man, like we really, really, really believe that like it starts with the fathers, man. So if you believe that same thing, go to tlcbrand.com. Use the code DADLIFE to get 20% off your order. That's DADLIFE, DADLIFE. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.